Welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a mid-month general reading for March for the sign of Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. If you don't know what your Moon or Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. There's a link down there that will help you. And then you should come back and watch your Moon and Ascendant signs because, well, some people resonate with them more than they resonate with their Sun sign. And for other people, it just gives you a more general view of what's going on with you overall than you get from just your sun sign, because let us not forget it is, well, minimum one kind of, like 1/12 or something of what the situation actually is, cosmologically speaking. So, anyway, thank you. I just want to issue a blanket massive thank you. I got up on Monday morning and not only had Mercury gone direct, which made me very, very happy indeed, but I had also discovered that I'd exceeded 10,000 subscribers, and I just staggered by it. I mean, obviously I'd kind of seen it coming, but the moment that I realised it had actually happened was kind of special for me, and although you couldn't see me, I was doing a little dance to myself. It's all down to you guys, all those people who subscribed and commented and liked and shared the videos, reached out for personal readings, messaged me, donated to the channel. You are what's making this happen. So my most profound gratitude to you all. Thank you so much. And I hope that I continue to be worthy of your support. What else do I have to tell you? Yes, as I mentioned, Mercury has already gone direct, and that's awesome until at least, June, when it happens again. We're still in the shadow period until the 29th of March, so just bear that in mind. And Pisces season is, coming to a close. We've got just over another week of it, and then we're into Aries season, sister fire sign. Now, if you're anything like me, I'm a Leo, you probably felt quite awful for the duration of Pisces season, certainly while the retrograde was in effect. Hopefully you're feeling a little better now, but all the fire signs that I know have just been deeply emotional and having a pretty awful time, so hopefully you're out the other side. So, because this is a mid-month reading, it's only covering 2 weeks or thereabouts. That's the intention that I set for it. So time is fluid. It can kind of, be a few days, maybe up to a week either side. I keep these a little shorter. Try not to pull clarifiers, although I am totally broken my own rule in the Cancer video that I just did, and I think I broke it for Scorpio and for Pisces as well, I think. So I will pull clarifiers if I need to, but try not to. Try and keep these a little more bite-sized than usual. So 3 cards for where your energy is at right now, 3 cards for what's coming towards you, and 3 cards of advice, if I remember, because I did also forget for the Cancer video I had to record an extra 2 minutes to tack on the end. It's late. It's getting later by the second, so. 3 cards for Sagittarius, please. Where is Sagittarius right now? First card is 9 of Cups. All right, Saggy. Jesus. 2 more cups for Cups. 2 more cards for Sagittarius, please. The Sun. Okie dokie. And 1 more card for Sagittarius, please. The Moon. Interesting. Okay. Actually, before I go any further, I just have to say, you are the sign that has shown up more than any other in everybody else's readings. Like, you've been trampling all over everybody's readings in the nicest possible way, though. You've just been bringing your, angelic selves round to everybody and just kind of healing them up. So keep doing that, because that's awesome. You're doing, some pretty splendid work there. But I just wanted to mention it because, obviously, I don't know if you cross-watch, but Sagittarius has been turning up in the Taurus readings for months in quite a significant way. But every reading I've done this month, Sagittarius all over it, so it's good. Right, at the bottom of the deck, we've got the 6 of Pentacles. That talks about balancing of energies. right? It can be resources and stuff like that, maybe you're balancing your books or what have you, but it feels like a kind of bigger version of that, and I'll explain why in a moment because of what's down here. And underneath that we've got the Ace of Swords, which talks about truth. It talks about clarity of thought. Could talk about an epiphany that you've had that's allowed you to balance yourself out, or a series of epiphanies possibly. So the three cards that you've got are the Nine of Cups, which is impressive, the Sun, which is the card of Leo in the Major Arcana, and the Moon, which is the card of Cancer. Now I love this. This is awesome, right? So I'll go through very quickly because there are two different ways of reading this, three different ways of reading this, right? The Nine of Cups is called the wish fulfillment card, right? And you'll find lots of these cards in the tarot have their kind of like their key names. Wish fulfillment, conspicuous public victory, new opportunity, stuff like that. This one is wish fulfillment, but for me, I feel like it's got a much more depth to it than that, because there's a woman sat here and she's very content. She's surrounded by 9 cups, right? And the idea is it's achieving, a wish. It's something that you've really wished for coming towards you, and all that sort of thing. But for me, because it's a 9, it talks to me of the self, right? I feel like all of the 9s talk about the self. Because what's better than wish fulfillment? Really, if you think about it. Like, it always slightly baffled me, right? You've got wish fulfillment, and then you've got a step further on from that. And I can't think of anything better than wish fulfillment. So therefore it has to mean something different, right? And so for me then, we're talking about the ability of someone to make themselves happy, right? Just as all the 9s talk about the self, the 9 of Pentacles talks about self-sufficiency and independence and stuff like that. And that's what I read from these cards. The 9s are the point at which you realize you can do things for yourself, right? And so the 9 of Cups, then, rather than being the wish fulfillment card, talks about somebody who can sit in their own energy and know that they are capable of making themselves happy. They don't need someone else to come in and do it for them, right? They might like somebody to come in and partner them, as an equal, but it's not required for their happiness, right? They can fill their own cup, they can drink from their own cup. It's a leveling up, actually, of energy is what it is, because there's no sense of codependence here. There's no sense of needing to work really hard for somebody's affection. There's no sense of receiving without giving. It's very balanced energy, and it's you doing it all for yourself. And this is the energy that you're sitting in at the moment. Now, these next 2 cards, Leo and Cancer, right? So it could be that you've got a Leo or a Cancer in your midst, right? Possibly. But given the interpretation that I've just made of this card, right, this then also takes on a deeper meaning, and this is what I really, really love, right? Interpretations kind of 2 and 3 are, it's a Leo making you happy, your wish fulfillment. It's a Cancer making you happy, your wish fulfillment. Don't think so. If you've ever watched any of my videos before, whenever the moon comes up, right, the moon talks to me about the subconscious. It talks about those hidden parts of you, your internal space, that maybe you just don't connect with very often, right? And I encourage people to do that as often as they possibly can, because I'm a shadow worker, and because I'm all about pulling out the kind of dark, dingy, emotionally repressed stuff that everybody carries around with them all the time, and integrating it, right? Integrate your shadow into who you are. Don't repress it. Don't pretend it's not there, because when you do that, you project onto other people, right? Those things that we see in other people that we judge hard and we hate is the very thing that we, repress in ourselves. So this is the inside world. The Sun, therefore, comes to mean the outside world to me, right? And it's joyful, it's happy. It's the inner child quite often, right? This child that as we grow up and we become older, we repress because we're taught that there's no value in play. There's no value in keeping our childish innocence, childlike innocence, right? When this comes out, this is somebody who has excavated. It's somebody who has kind of rejected the notion that as adults we need to be jaded and miserable, right? And they found the playful side. This is why it's the card of Leo. Leo is extremely strong, but it's also all about play. So you see Leo's very strongly associated with children because they are basically big children. But what this says to me is this is a really impressive level of balance, right? You've gone inside and you've pulled out some of your dark stuff. You've done shadow work, is essentially what you've done. And in doing that, you have revealed this great shining being here. And this is your external, right? You're balanced, your inner and your outer are resonating at the same frequency. And that is absolutely exquisite. And that is how you can sit here totally content in your own space, right? Because you're doing it for yourself. You're no longer feeling whatever you were feeling before, because I'm assuming whatever it wasn't this level of perfect balance. To be honest, if you're running around like this explains why you're going around and healing the shit out of all of the other signs when they need you at the moment. They really do, because you're on it, you're on top of it. That's profound. I don't know what's been going on with you, Sagittarius, but good job. Right. What's coming towards Sagittarius, please, in the next 2 weeks, from the 15th to the 31st? There's the first one. 4 of Pentacles, okay. What's coming towards Sagittarius? What's coming towards Sagittarius? Temperance. Wow. I think you're going to be going around doing more of this healing shit, Saggy. And 8 of Pentacles. Okay, that's cool. So the Four of Pentacles is a card that talks about release, right? It talks about needing to release things because it's about fear. It's about clinging on to things too hard, right? Usually. And because it's a 4, it's about those things that are, that give us stability often. That's why we're clinging to it. And this is somebody who's clinging to kind of like the 4 corners of their life, and they're not willing to let anything go. But it runs contrary to how the law of attraction works. So if you cling to something too hard, you're resonating with an energy of fear, a vibration of fear, and then all that you're sending out to the universe is, I am afraid of losing this thing. And the universe goes, oh, losing this thing, that's what you're focusing on. Wicked. All right, so we'll lose you that thing. Pull some clarifiers for that one. And so it talks about the need to release, right? The need to let energy in and let energy out. Just don't cling to anything, whether it's people, whether it's situations, even money, to be honest. If you treat money with fear, then you'll just never have any. Very painful lesson that it took me about 30 years to learn. Tell me about this 4 of Pentacles. Why is this 4 of Pentacles here? Shut the fucking door. Right. We have the 9 of Cups again. And Judgment. And the reason I'm smirking is obviously because the 9 of Cups has come out already. But we also have Judgment and the Ace of Cups underneath the deck. The shadow cards. Right? What's coming towards you is a need to release the fear of being judged for what makes you happy, right? Judgment is here twice, right? That's a real strong message, but also the Nine of Cups is here twice, right? And this is you making yourself happy, right? The step beyond this is the 10. That's making somebody else happy. And underneath the Judgment card, we've got the Ace, okay? 9 plus Ace, 9 plus Ace, you've got the 10, right? But there's a sense here of the fear of being judged by other people, right? You need to let that go. Holding on to any kind of fear whatsoever is another way of blocking yourself, right? Whatever makes you happy, you making you happy, and therefore your actions make you happy, right? Don't give a fuck about what anybody else thinks about it, because frankly, it's none of their business, right? You have one life, live it. Don't live in fear of judgment from others, right? And then in the center of the reading, the very middle card of 9 is Temperance. It's you, right? You are right at the center of all of this, and you're making yourself happy. Don't stop here. It feels like it's kind of like the last little thing that you have to slough off before you truly embrace who you are, right? And once you slough that off, then you can radiate this. I've been going around telling everybody basically that you Sagittarians, you do seem like incarnate angels to me, and you do. Like, my daughter's a Sagittarius, and just from what I've seen from the readings, that you really are going around and healing everyone. But you started with yourself, and that was really, really important. Yeah, that was cool. But it seems like you've got one last little hurdle to jump before you're fully in your power, right? And I find it quite interesting that this has occurred, this deep dive that you've done into your emotions, it's occurred in Pisces season when we fire signs were all fucking drowning, frankly. It was the best use of the energy that there was, right? That was exactly what the energy was there for. Feel things, process things, those things that are kind of dark and dingy down there that you don't really want to look at, pull them up, right? All the tools you need to grow are in the places you don't want to look. I love that quote. You got one little bit left, and this is what's coming towards you, right? It's the need to deal with this, because once you do, you're going to be absolutely unshakable in who you are, and your ability to heal will, I think, increase exponentially too. And then we've got the 8 of Pentacles, right, which talks about work. It talks about working very hard, actually. Hello. The card that's just flipped there is the Wheel of Fortune, as well as being your card, Sagittarius. I'm trying to take as confirmation for everything that I've just said. It's come out with the 10 of Pentacles. Right? So we've got the 8 of Pentacles, that's you working very hard. And then we've got this Wheel of Fortune and 10 of Pentacles coming out together. Now, the 10 of Pentacles can sometimes be business. So if you own your own business, you can expect things to take off quite dramatically, I think, very soon. Off the back of hard work that you've put in, I might add. But it can sometimes talk about inheritance, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that. So that's a possibility. Or it can talk about just commitment, and stability. Finding your commitment and stability. Sorry about the 8 of Pentacles. It's the Wheel of Fortune. It's just come out again. I'm going to put it back in because, What about the 8 of Pentacles? 27 cards down there, all drops. Tell me about the 8 of Pentacles, please. What's that? Queen of Swords. That's interesting. Okay. So, we've got the Hanged Man at the bottom of the deck. That's the card of Pisces. That talks about needing to take a change in perspective. And I think maybe there's a change of perspective required to do with your work. Maybe. trying to do this with minimal clarifiers is really annoying, actually. I have to say that. Right. We've got pentacles here. In fact, there have been pentacles all over this, right? If this is to do with your work, then if you've had new ideas, you need to implement them and not worry about what other people think. And I think maybe it's not even worry about people copying them, because they're not going to be able to do them with the panache, frankly, that you have to be able to do it, right? Eight of Pentacles talks about working very hard at something to achieve mastery. Now, this could be on an emotional level, right? You've done all this shadow work. That's possible. This could be employment, you know, business, working, all that kind of thing. But what we've got coming up here, right, is the Four of Wands, which is celebration. Actually, sometimes it's the wedding card, but it's the home, right? Talks about the home, everything to do with the home, whether that is a person, a building, you know. It's something that you celebrate as home. So sometimes it can even just be your own energetic space, or the energetic space that you share with someone else, right? Not necessarily a relationship per se, but that space, right? Home space. And then we've got Justice and the Queen of Swords. Now, Justice talks about karma, and it talks about all of those things, right? It's a pillar card. It talks about notions of right and wrong and justice and fairness and all that kind of thing. But it can also talk about legal contracts and court proceedings. And I feel like the fact that these two have come up together, if you've got court papers to sign, if you've got legal documents to sign, if you've got any of that sort of thing to do, and this is new, give it until after the 29th until you sell it. Oh, maybe some of you are selling a home or something like that. I don't know. I just fell out there. Until you sign it, is what I was going to say. Because we are still in the retrograde shadow, and that kind of fucks up stuff like this, right? If you absolutely have to sign before the 29th, then make sure that you double check, triple check, all that kind of thing, right? Also, the Queen of Swords is here as well. This could be an air sign woman, like Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, but I don't think it is. I think it's calling you, because this is a lower echo of this card here, to really pay attention to details, right? And in fact, Eight of Pentacles, that's what they do as well, because it's mastery, right? Really at the top of their game. It's paying attention to the fine details of something to do with the home, right? And I feel like there's probably a legal component to it somewhere, but don't just take it for granted that it's all just right, you know. Really cast your eye over it, and if you're not comfortable doing that to the level that you think it needs being scrutinized, get someone in to help you, someone with a Queen of Swords eye, you know, because her talent above anything else is to sniff out bullshit, frankly. And I always consider her to be kind of like the final level before the king, right? The final level of filter before it hits the King of Swords. Like the page and the knight and the queen, for me, they all kind of get rid of the stuff that isn't important, all the extraneous bullshit, right? So when it's actually presented to the king, he can make a clear decision about what's best for the most amount of people, right? The Queen doesn't do that exactly. She just cuts out all the stuff that he doesn't need to know, all the crap, you know, and she finds the truth. So if there's any deception anywhere, she'll get it, right? Pay attention to the small print. So let's get you some cards of advice, because that did feel a little bit like it was advice anyway. Advice for Sagittarius, please. Three cards of advice for Sagittarius. Oh, did finally get one. Queen of Cups. Advice for Sagittarius, please. Got the Nine of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck then, and the Four of Wands. That's really interesting. It's the second time the Four of Wands has turned up, the home, you know. But we've got the Nine of Pentacles as well. It's another 9, right? And this one's material self-sufficiency. So you're really getting on top of your shit, Saggy. That's awesome. three cards of advice that you've got are the Queen of Cups, the Six of Swords, and the Four of Swords. Now, the Queen of Cups is a receptive energy, right? She's the water queen, so Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio energy. But this is advice, it's not a person, right? And she's extremely receptive. She allows things to come to her. And I feel like this is a month where you don't need to go chasing things, Saggy, right? I'm not suggesting that you stay still, but I'm suggesting that you find a way to still yourself occasionally. Like maybe you're working just a little bit too hard. I'm not seeing any real indication of that, to be honest. But you've obviously got your nose to the grindstone, and you're working quite hard on something, because we've got this Eight of Pentacles here. But the Queen doesn't chase things, she receives, right? So be open. Be open to receive, right? Wheel of Fortune's come out. Stuff's coming your way, and it's good stuff. But you need to learn to leave some of the bullshit behind, right? And this is what this is here, this Four of Pentacles, right? Release that. Move away from that. Use your discernment to sniff out things that you know you should be wary of. Absolutely. But you need to find a way to move away from this without hardening yourself up, you know, without closing up, without becoming, you know, walled in some way, right? Remain open, remain emotionally available, and intellectually move away from these things, right? Because I feel like emotionally you probably have already, because you've got the Nine of Cups twice, right? You're making yourself happy. Your emotional space is just pucker right now. But there's stuff that still troubles your mind, right? And it's time to move away from that whilst keeping your heart space open. And then we've got the Four of Swords, which is it's a card of taking a break. So, I mean, at its most basic, yeah, like the card that's just flipped there is the Nine of Swords, right? Getting up in your head a little bit with stuff. At its most basic, it's take a break. It's know when to have a bit of downtime, right? And it doesn't have to be much. I know you like to move around a lot, but just a little bit, right? Maybe meditate if you don't. And I really like this for this particular card for that, because all four of those swords are kind of under a veil. It's like somebody's chucked a blanket over it and gone, right, you stay there, swords, you know, thoughts, all that kind of thing. I'm going to pull back and I'm going to have a little rest from you. That's Four of Swords. This is Four of Swords here. Death. I just want to say that I'm sure I saw the Four of Swords flip somewhere in the deck as well while I was shuffling, which is really funny. No, mayhap I completely dreamt it. No, I did. There it is. Four of Swords. I'm going to take that as confirmation. Like, bit of downtime, bit of space for your brain, right? It's not going to do it any harm. It will, in fact, do it the world of good. Wheel of Fortune again. Yeah. I have the oddest sense, and I have to share it with you, that there's actually some really massive changes coming up for you, and it's important for you to conserve your energy for this last couple of weeks, right? We've got the Wheel of Fortune and Death have come out to clarify the Four of Swords, and I think Aries season is when things are going to really start taking off for you. You're going to have that input of fire energy from Aries, and it's going to light a rocket up your arse. But in order to take the best advantage of it, you need to get on top of this situation first, right? Right. Lose all the stuff that you're overthinking at the moment, all that Nine of Swords energy, as it just flipped, you know, all this stuff, right? Let that go, right? That's more stuff to let go. Remain open and receptive and a little bit still, a little bit stiller, you know. I think these two go together really, really well as a kind of request to meditate, to find the stillness within, yeah? But I have this sense that things are going to change for you quite dramatically once Aries season starts. And this is kind of like the calm before the storm. And you're getting a bit giddy because you've managed to sort out your inner and your outer space, and you're feeling balanced for the first time in a long time, right? You're right at the center of the reading there. But things are going to go, you know, up. I'm trying to find the right word and I can't think of it. I can't think of what I'm wanting to say. It's time to rest now, right? It's only 2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks. But I feel like if you don't get into the habit of doing it now over the next couple of weeks, when Aries season starts properly and this energy really hits you and you really take off in the way that you intend to, like, it's not going to be part of your routine. It's not going to be part of your daily structure. And the amount of time that you have to rest your mind and all of those things is just going to get swept away, right? It's going to be even more reduced than it is now. You have to find the time, you have to make the time, just as meditation is creating consciously a space in your head, right, without thoughts, to allow it to rest and you know, communicate with you know, your intuition or your higher self or whatever. So you have to consciously make a space for yourself in the day where you do fucking nothing, you know, even if it's just sitting, you know, with a cup of coffee on a park bench, just, you know, looking at the, if you live somewhere nice, I mean, I don't know, something that is downtime for you, because you're going to be pretty busy over the summer, and from Aries season is when it starts, right? Big changes ahead, massive changes ahead. Rest now, my little centaurs, because otherwise you're just going to collapse with exhaustion by the end of the summer, and we don't want that. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you managed to extricate some sense from that for you. I think there was some there, I'm not sure. If the message resonated, I'd love it if you would, you know, like the video or comment or, you know, whatever. And if you wanted to subscribe, I would be delighted to have you aboard also. But if not, no shade. And I will see you in about 10, 12 days anyway for the April monthly readings. Right, love you all. Take care.